Okay, so what you want to do first is name your file, and we're going to name this one Metro Beach. So you want to click through each letter like you're texting. And I spelled Metro wrong. M-E-T-R-O space B-E-A. You think I have to spell everything out for myself? And we're going to say that this is Metro Beach 3. Right?
Sure.
I think so. I think this is Metro Beach 3. Space. And then we're going to save it. And you can see that the file is already open. So you click Home. And what you want to do is go back down to Sensors. And what you can see is we've got the water quality sensor and our temperature sensor hooked up. Out in the field we'll have another temperature sensor set up, but we don't have one right now, so we've only got the 2 sensors. Now when you go under sensors, you want to go to sample rate unit and change each one to hours. So, and then under sample rate it'll be 1. So you're collecting 1 sample every hour. And you want to make sure that you change the water quality and both temperature sensors to hours for your sample rate unit, and then your sample rate is 1. When you're done with that, go to Sensors and you click Calibrate. So now you're under the water quality sensor. You want the temperature sensor first. It's easier to calibrate first. Go to Calibrate Selected Measurements Only. Select Calibrate All, select all similar measurements. Under Calibration Point, go to 1 point offset, and you'll see down here it starts reading the temperatures. So then when you go back up, you say read point 1, and you can see over here that it read 21.38 degrees Celsius. And you press OK. Then you go back to Sensors, Calibrate. You're done with that temperature sensor. For the other ones, for the other 2, you want to do the exact same thing. You click up here, temperature sensor, and then you go to all similar measurements. Then you click 1 point offset, and you do the same thing as click read point 1, and you click OK. You do that for the other temperature sensor as well. Go back to Sensors, Calibrate. So now we've got both temperature sensors on this particular unit done and set up and calibrated. So you want to go back to water quality, click on temperature, and click on conductivity, the 10x probe. That's the probe that we're using. Click on it, and we've got selected, calibrate selected measurement. That's all you want. And it's a 1 point slope. This is for our standard. So in our standard solution, you press the check mark in the center to highlight it. This guy right here. And our standard is 1413. Just type it in and press the check mark again. Now, then you take your standard solution and you take your probe, this guy here, and you just stick it in there and then you just let it sit for a while until you see down here that it stays relatively the same for a while.
You can really see that or not?
I don't know. You can kind of see it.
But this number right there.
Yeah, that number. Once this number starts staying the same, then you click read point 2. And then you click the check mark. Oh, I'm sorry, don't click the check mark. Just press OK. I lied. Just press OK once you press read point 2. And then you go back to Sensors. And go back down to Calibrate. And go back to Water Quality. And you want to click the Water Quality. Then go back to pH, because now we have to calibrate our pH probe, and we are doing a 2-point calibration for a 4-point
Just realized I
pH
shuffled it upside down.
and a 7-point pH. And for that, what we want to do is we take our pH probe first, and we select where we want on here where we want the reading to go. So we take our probe, and put the probe into our standard buffer.
In this case, 4.
In this case, 4. Once these numbers, again down at the bottom, stay relatively the same, you click read point 1, which is F3. Rinse it off in DI water. Like so.
This is the weirdest video I've ever watched.
And then you scroll down to 7.0, and we put the probe into our 7.0 buffer. Wait for it to become relatively the same again, and click read point 2. Click OK, and everything that we've got on our machine right now is calibrated. Make sure to close everything back up so we don't spill anything.
Struggling with that one-handed.
Alright, and then you go back home, click the home button right here, and you want to go back to data files, and you click the center button and you click save to make sure that it saves all the calibrations. Then when you go back home, you can go back down to settings, and you click auto power off, and you set it at 2 minutes. Make sure that the backlight is set off, and when you go to startup action that it says open last experiment. When all of that says everything, you go back to home, click data files, and click save. That way everything is completely saved. Done with that, and you click this play button down here, and it'll start collecting data the second you press it, and after 2 minutes it automatically shuts off, and you have to wait for this green button to continue flashing. You make sure that once it's in sleep mode that it's still, like, the green button is still flashing, and it wakes up every hour on the hour and will collect your data for you. And that's it. Really?